will never see happiness." Papiphina taunted, his voice dripping with malice. "You belong to us, and no one can ever have you. You are ours, and to us you will remain in perpetuity." With those chilling words, Papiphina disappeared into the river, leaving Amani and the villagers in shock and grief. The river seemed to swallow him whole, its cool surface hiding the evil that lurked beneath. This is Mbuyu, a village nestled between the lush, emerald-green forest and the sparkling waters of Lake Naira. The village is cradled by the majestic forests, which stretch as far as the eye can see. Towering trees, adorned with vibrant flowers and lush canopies, stand sentinel over the village, their leaves rustling softly in the gentle breeze. Lake Naira, with its crystal-clear waters, laps gently against the village's shoreline. The lake's tranquility is broken only by the occasional ripple caused by a fish breaking the surface or a bird taking flight. The villagers of Mbuyu are a warm and welcoming people, deeply rooted in their traditional culture. They are a community-oriented society, where everyone looks out for one another. Respect for elders, tradition, and the land is deeply ingrained in their way of life. The villagers are predominantly farmers, fishermen, and artisans. They live in harmony with nature, relying on the forest and the lake for their livelihood. In Mbuyu, women are revered and cherished. They are the backbone of the community, responsible for managing the household, raising children, and contributing to the family income through their fishing and farming endeavors. The people of Mbuyu have a deep appreciation for the beauty and strength of their women. Our tale centers on Amani, a stunning 22-year-old village girl, who has long and dark hair that cascades down her back like a waterfall. Her bright, expressive eyes seem to gleam with an inner light, and her full lips curve into a perpetual, enigmatic smile. Her smooth, caramel-colored skin glows with a radiant health, and her light, athletic build speaks to a life spent outdoors. However, Amani's life takes a dark turn when a series of mysterious events unfolds. It begins when her childhood friend, Kofi, spends a night under her roof and wakes up to find himself immensely wealthy. But 3 months later, Kofi dies under mysterious circumstances, and the villagers begin to whisper among themselves. As the days pass, more men encounter Amani, and each one meets with a similar fate. There's Jelani, the young farmer who inherits a vast fortune after sharing a meal with Amani, only to fall ill and die a week later. Then there's Hassan, the village elder's son, who becomes an overnight sensation in business after meeting Amani, but is found dead in his office just a month later. Fanana, the charming traveler who passes through the village and is smitten with Amani's beauty. After spending a night with her, he wins a massive lottery jackpot, but his luck runs out when he's killed in a car accident just 2 weeks later. Finally, there's Edwin, the village's most eligible bachelor, who becomes obsessed with Amani and begs her to marry him. After a whirlwind romance, Edwin's business fortunes skyrocket, but he's found dead in his bed just a month into their courtship. As the death toll rises, the villagers begin to turn on Amani. They whisper among themselves, pointing accusatory fingers at the young woman. "She's cursed," they hiss. "Her touch brings death." The villagers shun Amani, refusing to speak to her or even look at her. Her grandmother, once a respected elder in the community, is now ostracized along with her granddaughter. The villagers' hatred for Amani grows with each passing day, fueled by fear, superstition, and a deep-seated mistrust of the mysterious and beautiful young woman. The people in the village of Mbuyu began to speak of Amani in hushed voices. They wondered if she carried a blessing or a curse. Over the course of the next year, 6 men who had courted Amani fell victim to her mysterious power. They all became wealthy beyond imagination, with lands and cattle overflowing, but each died precisely 3 months after their final encounter with her. On seeing Amani from afar, Elder Santi, whispering to another elder, "That's Amani, it's the girl. There is darkness around her. First it's Kofi, and then Mumo, now even Chief Folona's son is dead." The village elders grow restless, and fear of Amani's personality spread. Families want their sons to stay away from her, but her beauty and charm make it difficult. Each man that died claimed to have found fortune after spending a night in her presence, but the price was death. Amani is desperate, and starts pleading with her grandmother Unana, "I don't understand. I never wanted any of this. I want to live a normal life, but the men who come to me, they die." Her grandmother, a wise woman known for her knowledge of ancient law, looks at her with deep concern. And in an introspection, an old story begins to haunt her thoughts. Amani's grandmother exclaims gently, "There are things, my child, that our ancestors feared. These are powers that come from the earth, the rivers, and the stars. You must seek answers before the curse consumes you." Meanwhile, at the royal palace, surrounded by lush gardens and towering baobab trees, Prince Jabari, son of King Mona and Queen Nia, hears about Amani's strange curse. Despite the dangers, he is intrigued by the tales of Amani's beauty and the dark power that surrounds her. But unlike the others, Prince Jabari has a secret. His mother, Queen Nia, is the daughter of the river goddess, Nahuma. This means that the blood of a goddess runs in his veins. Jabari says to his mother, "I must meet this girl. I believe I can save her." Queen Nia, worried the curse she bears is ancient. "Even I can feel the weight of it. Be careful, my son, for the spirits do not easily release their hold." The prince sets out to meet Amani. When they first encounter each other, their connection is immediate, intense, and undeniable. Amani is initially afraid. After all, every man she has loved has died. Amani, backing away from Jabari. "You must not come closer. I carry a darkness within me." Jabari calmly exclaims, "I have faced darkness before, and I will face it again, if need be. I am not afraid." Walking hand in a secret place by the riverside, hidden away from the village. Jabari and Amani entangle and share embrace. As the days goes by, Amani and Jabari's love deepens, despite the warnings from everyone around them. For the first time, Amani feels hope. Jabari promises to protect her and find a way to break the curse. They continue to meet in secret, far from the prying eyes of the villagers. Jabari softly, holding Amani's hands. He deeply professes his love for her and says, "Whatever this curse is, it will not tear us apart. I will not let it." Not too long, the villagers discover their meetings, and their meeting place, and fear spreads. The elders decide that Amani must be banished from the village to stop more deaths. They gather at the royal court to demand her exile. As they arrive at the royal palace, in front of the throne room, the village elders, led by Elder McKenna, present their case to the king. The villagers shout and clamor for Amani's exile. Elder McKenna exclaims, "Amani is cursed by the gods." "Yes, she is, Your Majesty. 6 men have died. If she stays, more will follow. We demand her banishment for the safety of the village." King Mona looks to his son, knowing his heart is bound to Amani. Jabari pleads with his father to spare her, but the king is torn between his duty to his people and his son's heart's desire. King Mona voices sternly, "You can see the people are afraid. My son, I have no choice. She must leave our village for our safety." On the king's order, Amani is led out of the village. She weeps along with her grandmother. But Jabari won't let go. He would walk by her side into the forest. Jabari refuses to let go as he weeps the more. Amani, whispering and crying, exclaims, "This is the end. I should never have let you fall in love with me. My love, I am so sorry." Jabari hugs Amani, calms her down and says to her, "No, this is only the beginning. I promised you that I would find a way, and I will." After 2 weeks, deep in the heart of the forest, near the sacred river, Jabari and Amani seek answers from the river goddess, Nyahuma, Jabari's grandmother. They stood before the sacred waters, where Nyahuma appeared in a shimmering form. Nyahuma, with her voice echoing from the river, shouts loudly, "Amani, you have been touched by a vengeful spirit. It is a punishment passed down through your bloodline, a debt owed to the spirits of the earth." Amani falls on her knees, tearful and broken. Amani in sadness says to Nyahuma, "Please, release me from this curse. I never wanted this." Nyahuma in response says to Amani, "The price is steep, my child. But there is a way. I will fortify you and my son Jabari, and with this power you shall battle the evil spirit that torments you. You will be a match to the spirits and fight it. You must face the spirit that haunts you, Amani. Only then will you be free. On the eve of the fourth moon, at the edge of Yachua, a narrow strait where the river bends and the current churns violently, Jabari and Amani stood shoulder to shoulder and engaged their adversary in battle. Their faces hardened by the knowledge of what lay ahead. The air was thick with mist, with the smell of wet earth clinging to their skin. As the moon dwindled, Demaya, the spirit that cursed Amani, appeared, rising from the waters in a terrifying form. It is the spirit of a forgotten ancestor who was wronged long ago. The spirit exclaimed. So, you mortals, you dare to challenge me? Demaya's voice was as smooth as silk but sharp like shattered glass. The river bubbled, and from its swelling depths, she rose. Her form was ethereal, half water, half woman, with flowing tendrils of liquid hair, eyes like glowing sapphires, and a body that shimmered as if made from the river itself. Jabari, with the strength of his divine heritage, throws the first attack. It is fierce and mystical, with lightning and wind swirling around them. The spirit appeared as though it would be easily defeated. With a snarl, she clawed at the energy, her sapphire eyes blazing with rage. "You think this will hold me?" Demaya exclaimed in a loud voice. "You fools! You mortals! I am the river. I am eternal." Her voice boomed like thunder, and the water around them began to churn violently, creating whirlpools that sucked in everything within reach. Jabari and Amani struggled to maintain their footing as the ground beneath them trembled. The energy around Demaya flickered, and for a moment the light dimmed. As the wave of attacks raged on, Jabari, with the assistance of Amani, slammed Demaya to the ground. Jabari grabbed a sharp dagger hidden beneath his cloak, its blade coated in the sacred herbs the river goddess, Nahuma, had given them. With a roar, he charged at the goddess. Demaya's eyes narrowed, and with a flick of her finger, a wave of water lashed out, striking Jabari in the chest and sending him flying back into the muddy shore. In a last desperate attempt, Demaya unleashed a vortex, the wind howling and water whipping around them with fury. Jabari gripped the dagger tightly and, with all his strength, drove it into the goddess's chest. The sacred herbs ignited in a burst of flame, and Demaya screamed. A scream that shook the earth and made the river tremble. A blinding flash of light followed, and there came silence. The waters calmed. The wind ceased, and the goddess dissolved, her form melting back into the river. Jabari and Amani collapsed on the shore, panting, covered in mud and blood, but alive. Demaya has now been defeated for good, but the river would never be the same. The curse is broken, but Amani will carry the mark of the spirits forever. With this victory, the curse is lifted. Amani and Jabari returned to the village. As they arrived, Amani is withdrawn, anticipating rejection. But to her surprise, they are met with awe and respect. Because the villagers had learnt of their victory, the elders, now humbled, recognized the power of love and the intervention of the gods. The king, seeing his son's bravery and Amani's transformation, gives them his blessing. King Mona exclaims, "You have proven your worth, both of you. The curse is broken, and the village will be safe again. You are free to marry." As the sun shone brightly on the grand ceremony by the river, Amani and Jabari exchanged their vows, surrounded by their loved ones. The air was filled with joy and laughter. And the village elder, Elder McKenna, King Mona, smiled warmly as the chief priest Rumewana pronounced them husband and wife. In a twist of events, the celebration turned to tragedy. Papiphina, the son of the river goddess Damai, emerged from the river, his presence blazing with fury. With a swift strike of his sapphire spear, he struck Jabari down, silencing the joy and laughter of the gathering. "I am Papiphina," he shouted, his voice echoing across the water. "And this is my revenge," he declared, with his gaze fixed on Amani. Amani's world crumbled as she fell to her knees, cradling Jabari's lifeless body in her arms. Tears streamed down her face, and bitterness filled her heart. "You will never see happiness," Papiphina taunted, his voice dripping with malice. "You belong to us, and no one can ever have you. You are ours, and to us you will remain in perpetuity." With those chilling words, Papiphina disappeared into the river, leaving Amani and the villagers in shock and grief. The river seemed to swallow him whole, its cool surface hiding the evil that lurked beneath. Amani's heart was consumed by anger and sorrow. She knew that Papiphina would return, and she steeled herself for the battle ahead. After the burial of Prince Jabari, the villagers and King Mona rallied around Amani, and together, they all agreed to offer their support and fight with Amani. Amani's mind was already set on blood and on revenge. She would not rest until Papiphina is destroyed. She will not rest until Papiphina is decimated. But just like life's uncertainties, will Amani be able to overcome the river goddess's powers and avenge Jabari's death? Or will Papiphina's evil plans tear her world apart once more? The fate of the village and Amani's future will hang in the balance.